I wanted to make a video real quick to talk about what I just saw on a CoinShares fund report, in which I thought was actually pretty unexpected and interesting, especially for Solana. So looking at this CoinShares report, again, I'm on blog.coinshares.com. I'm looking at the Fund Flows weekly report. And this is something that I watch just pretty much every week when it releases, just because I get curious about what the hedgies are doing, right? What are these hedge funds doing? Are they putting money in? Are they taking money out? Although they're not superhumans and they make mistakes, oftentimes they have just a little extra insight from all of their connections. And because of that, I like to, just pay attention to it. And I was watching all of these. Now, of course, Bitcoin had a pretty decent week, right? About 11 million weekly inflows, $11 million in weekly inflows, which isn't too crazy. Ethereum had about 4 million outflows, multi-assets 2.1 million. Short on Bitcoin was at a negative 11.1, meaning that people are starting to stop inflowing on their shorts. What that just means is they're expecting some type of bear market rally or the price to start to grow. And so obviously they're not funding their short positions as much because they don't want to lose money if the market does bounce, which is, that's also pretty interesting itself, that a lot of these hedges are starting to expect to see some type of growth, which is why they're inflowing to Bitcoin and outflowing from their short positions. But all of that aside, I was really paying close attention to what's happening over on Solana, and this is actually the second net positive week that we've had in a row. Now, obviously, we saw the FTX crash and implosion happen about 4 weeks ago, so it has given it some time, but given the fact that that was just about a month ago, and we are already starting to see $200,000 of weekly inflows coming in, it's quite interesting to me. Now, obviously, there were more inflows than this, but there are also more outflows that are not shown here. And so the balance of inflows and outflows was still a net positive, and I find that interesting. Now, that doesn't sound like a huge number, but when you do compare it to something like Polygon, which has been absolutely crushing it, killing it, doing absolutely amazing in comparison to just about the rest of the market, especially in the last 4 or 5 months, I think it's quite impressive for Solana, right? You got to think Polygon's working with everyone, Instagram, Meta, Disney, all of the biggest companies in the world, and they're helping them launch in one way or another. Even Robinhood just brought them on recently. And the fact that Solana, which just imploded, is seeing similar inflows as something like Matic, which kind of is in a league of its own right now, I think that's a little bit of a great sign, honestly. Now, I do kind of accredit this to a couple things, but what I think people are taking notice of the most is the on-chain development that is continuing, especially post-FTX crash. Now, one thing that we do have to remember is that they are starting to work towards using Openbook. Now, if you don't remember, there was a DeFi protocol on Solana called Serum. Now, Serum was kind of like the base and the anchor of the entire Solana DeFi ecosystem, and FTX was its creator and its founder and held its private key. And so what happened was that when FTX went under, a lot of these different projects, such as Jupiter Aggregator or Radium, they all got nervous that Serum was going to get, have some type of exploit or something of that nature with the private key, which could be detrimental, of course, to the majority of Solana's DeFi. And so for that reason, they cut ties with Serum and started to work it out of their ecosystems. So as that happened, obviously something had to replace it, and that's when Openbook stepped in. Now, interestingly enough, it says here that Openbook, the successor to Serum, has to wrestle with some thorny tokenomics questions after reaching $2.7 million in total locked value since it was added to DeFi Llama just last week. It says the community's evolution of Serum to Openbook has been great to watch, Solana co-founder said. The community mobilized quickly and in the open to redeploy Serum so it continues on a new secure path with decisions made by and for the community members. Openbook is a great demonstration of decentralization in action. So what we can see here is that although there are some things going on in which they have to figure out the tokenomics and figure out the real future of it there, I think it's interesting to see that people are still rallying behind Solana, and although developer activity and developer commits are down about 50%, there are still those other 50% that are busting their ass and working day in and day out to continue to build Solana and to build the ecosystem around them. And so with that said, it is interesting to see that as this is happening and as they do seem to be taking the necessary steps to continue to build Solana, we are seeing some of these hedge funds again, flowing in $200,000 net positive on the week. So I do recommend watching this, especially on CoinShares over the next couple weeks, just to pay attention to it. And with that said, it could be not a terrible time to pick up a little bit of Solana if these guys are right. Now, looking at the price itself, you guys know I have been tracking this price movement for a while now, about a year and a half, and I am still in a position in which I am not going to be doing massive accumulating speculating on Solana. I think $15 is still our door to victory here. If we're capable of breaking 15, that does put us in a fantastic position to break out of this inverted head and shoulders, in which we could see some type of breakout target to $20, $25 plus. But obviously that is a big task, and that still needs to see that clearing up here. Now, paying attention to it, I would still say that if we start to come back down below $13.20 and then eventually below $12.70, do expect us to pull back towards probably the $10-ish level towards some of these points. That's kind of our last point of support. We lose a lot of liquidity once we do lose $12.77. And so since we are kind of caught between a rock and a hard place between this $15 resistance and this $12.70 support, I'm not really doing anything until we break one of these, because it's kind of a 50-50 right now. The market's so uncertain, and even if the market has a great day, that doesn't guarantee that Solana is going to have a great day. And so I still want to just be a little bit more cautious with Solana right now, even though things do seem pretty interestingly going well behind the scenes with the developers and with Openbook starting to take some popularity. So with that said, I will continue to update you guys as this does play out, and all you need to do is just like this video so more of the Solana community sees it, and subscribe to the channel so that you are capable of seeing the next video that I do post. But with that said, that's going to be about it. Of course, I hope you guys did enjoy, and I will see you all next time. Peace.